Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are on the final part of the Quran. But before going on to the explanation of certain themes within the final part, one thing that appears in the 29th part, which is then again repeated before it, is that Nabi Nuh saying to Allah, O Lord, destroy all the disbelievers, because if you were to leave them, they will not produce or beget or give birth to anyone but tyrannical, oppressive people. Now here Nabi Nuh in his humanness is imprecating his people, but at the same time he is saying something which is an existential feature of this world, that destroy them now because no good is going to come from them. Similarly, we find in another place that Allah says to Nabi Nuh, now build an ark. No one after this will take faith in you, which resonates with the story of the coming of the Mahdi Salamullah alayhi. We are told that he will come when there are two distinct groups within humanity, and they are quite separate. Those who believe or have the inclination towards belief and goodness and reform, and those who are set in their disbelief or inhumane attributes. And that is when Mahdi will come, and that is when the decisive judgment of God will come. And this has historical precedence, at least in the case of Nabi Nuh, that when no further good souls are going to take birth from a community, then Allah's chastisement swiftly comes and overtakes them. In the 30th chapter, the focus is on Qiyama and whatever will happen on Qiyama. Two things stand out, and this is the great thump that will occur upon the earth, which will then cause the earth to shake violently, through which the mountains shall crumble and human beings shall appear like scattered moths that are colliding into everything in their path. The other thing that comes through these verses is the whole of this issue of everything being recorded by scribes, and that on the day of Qiyamah, and this has been repeated 3 to 4 times in these surahs within the 30th part, that alimat nafsun ma ahdarat, every soul will know what it has done, ma qaddamat wa akharat, whatever they have sent forward and whatever they have retained, that every soul finally will see what they have done. This brings the meaning that we have certainly made a pact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are on a particular task. We have come with a particular task into this earth. And on the day of Qiyamah, we will finally awaken and we will see how we have performed. Allah also says, on that day, man shall remember. But on that day, the recollection of what life was all about will be to no avail. And at that point, there will be nothing but huge and great regret. This is a theme that is continued for the major part of the 30th part of the Quran. We come to the final 2 chapters, Suratul Falaq and Suratul Nas. Now, people often misread the verses. When we read the verse, min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what He has created, we normally intend to say in our minds that, oh Allah, you have created evil and I seek refuge in you from those evils. But that is not what the verse is saying. The verse is saying min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what He has created. Allah has created nothing but good. But in our human interaction with it, it results in evil. The volcanic eruptions, the earthquakes, the tsunamis, these are all natural workings of the Mother Earth. But in relation to human beings, when human beings are affected by it and they are destroyed, it is known as an evil of what God has created, not the evil that God has created. Here, if we can look at these natural evils and interact with it in a different way, then it would not even be considered as evil. If we could take a philosophical approach or even a mystical approach and say that actually as we are growing, so is the earth growing. And in the process of the growth of the earth, humankind is growing. And even if I am affected by it, eventually the whole of humanity is growing through it, and in turn with humanity, so am I. And that too then would not be seen as evil if the interaction is accurate with this situation. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created within us the instinct to survive. This survival instinct, if not understood accurately, can result in the destruction of others in a variety of ways, in cheating others of their wealth or of their lives. And this again is evil. But the survival instinct is good in itself. It is most needed to ensure the existence of mankind. But if misplaced, it results in evil. Now the evil here is within the agent who takes the life of another, fearing the loss of his own life, or the wealth of another in greed. That is evil, not relying on Allah. And this evil is caused by our material constitution, not by our spirit, which is from God, neither by our souls, which are mere awakening and they are being called towards God, but a misplaced understanding of survival. And that's how matter prevails over our judgment and we begin to tarnish our souls. But in essence, it is not evil. And the whole of the system is good in its entirety with the human flaws that are within it. In any case, these sort of verses require us to reflect deeply within their content. In the final surah, there is a lengthy prelude in the sense that we say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. Malikin Nas, the king and the owner of mankind. Ilahin Nas, the God of mankind. Lord is the one who nurtures us. King is the one who owns us in every affair of ours in essence. And Ilah is the one to whom we turn in order to gain our completion. But why have we implored Allah in three different ways, invoking His three different aspects? Surely, whatever we are going to say at this point onwards, at this point and onward has to be something very, very important. So this is what we are saying. Min sharril waswasil khannas, from the evil of the subtle gestures and whispers of the khannas, the hidden entity. So it just shows how vulnerable we are. And in order to safeguard ourselves, we are imploring Allah in Allah's entirety and all of Allah's authoritative aspects and nurturing and caring aspects. He is nurturing me. If Khannas' whispers arrive at my heart, that level of nurturing will be faltered. And only the nurturer can cure that level within me. The owner who can repel the waswas of the Khannas, I'm imploring him. The Ilah, to whom I ascend and evolve, can address the situation, because if the Khannas is allowed within me, I will not accurately evolve to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why is this waswas of Khannas so detrimental? Because if we look at it very carefully, we are people who are, for most part of our lives, moved by different emotions and sentiments. And very seldom do we think through things logically and rationally. Detached of all emotions and detached of all fanciful ideas. We are people who are emotive. We find in our souls constant chattering, constant likes and dislikes. We find sudden likeness and desire and passion, sudden hatred, sudden dislike. Whenever we want to do something good, we procrastinate. Or at times when we want to pick up the phone and call somebody and ask them how they are, we get a sudden thought, why don't we look at the television and we'll see this and that movie. These are termed as khannas, these distractions. And it is as if the human condition is this, that they are taking birth in the cradle of the khannas. In other words, we are constantly suggested to. Thoughts are coming into our minds, emotions into our hearts, instincts prevail over us. And before we can think about it accurately, we've done a great deal of wrong and we have wasted a great deal of time. Being of material constitution and animalistic in the cradle, we are trying to grow into fine human beings. But being in the cradle of animality, we are governed by animal and material properties. We are instinctive. Constantly suggestions are made to us and we heed to those suggestions. That is khannas. Not to say that all instinct is bad, no. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So here we seek refuge with our Lord from this disposition that we have within our souls from the level of birth, that we overcome it. Since if we overcome it, then we become mindful, extremely mindful and God-centric. We are conscious of everything that we are doing. We are hyper aware. Our awareness is heightened. So before any thought can cross our mind, we check it and reject it if we want to, or accept it if it's wholesome. As opposed to not having that fort around us and allowing everything to penetrate within the soul and interacting with it spontaneously. Allah says this khannas can be jinn or man. So a mere smile from another person can arouse the heart into a negative way, in a negative way. So for example, if somebody smiles at that, we might become enraged thinking that they are mocking at us and smiling in a mocking fashion. Whereas if we were to check this against our intellect, we will say it's a mere smile. And even if their intention is bad, what difference does it make to me? I didn't interact. But why should I even think that the intention is bad? Let that intention be good, O Allah, and make me a good servant of yours that always thinks good of others. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.